calling all my footy fans from all around the globe. Straight out of NYC, this is The Line Breaker. Hey, what's up? Welcome to The Line Breaker. My name is Pano.
I'm Demetri, aka Juicy.
And we are back after a long break. I know it was international break, but it was also Demetri's time to take a break from everything, be lazy, not want to record any episodes. So we're back now. We're back. We're good to go. International break over. And we have some Champions League, I guess you could say, recap juiciness, you know, maybe a little juiciness of the Champions League. Game week 3. Listen, we have not missed a single Champions League game week. So we got plenty to talk about when it comes to this game week. I would say pretty straightforward results, right? I mean, any results that really surprised you over this Champions League week?
No real curveballs, but kind of disappointed that Newcastle lost at home, but again, not the craziest of things to lose to Dortmund 1-0.
I'm sure you're also a little disappointed that, you know, your boys Barcelona could only muster out a 2-1 win against Shakhtar.
A win is a win. 9 points through 3 games. We're going to make it to the Champions League knockouts, I think, for the first time in 3 seasons. The last 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah, because last year you weren't in it. The year before that, you crashed out?
Both years we crashed out to the Europa League.
Yes.
The first year, I think, Inter knocked us out along with PSG.
That's what it was, yes. You know what I also forgot? We got to do Pano's
Power Picks.
Pano's Power Rankings. It's time to go, and I mean, honestly, not much has changed, right? You can't really say much has changed from my last Power Picks, but, you know, I'm still going to go through them. This is how we're going to go. We're going to run through this one quickly because I think this one, it's a little bit more straightforward, just like it was game week 2. We're going to go with number 1. So I'm going to go from first now. Number 1, easy choice. We're going to go with FC Barcelona. FC Barcelona maintaining the top spot. 9 points, 7 goal differential. Barcelona is cruising right now. They're looking good. Okay, you cannot complain about Barcelona, but a newcomer in the second place spot, because I got to put them there. Manchester City. It feels like every game has been a little bit harder for them than it should be, but at the end of the day, they got 9 points out of 3 games, so 9 out of a possible 9. Can't argue with that. So Manchester City is number 2 in my power rankings. Number 3 is going to be Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern isn't really dropping for any other reason other than I just think that I'm just going to put City above them right now because City seems to be catching fire right now in the Champions League. So I'm going to put Bayern at number 3, even though, again, they're also perfect. 3 wins out of 3 games, 9 points out of a possible 9. Number 4, a team who I'm putting at 4 because I do feel like they've really scraped away here. And we're going to talk more about this game after these power rankings, and that is Real Madrid. Real Madrid, although they're also perfect, 3 for 3, 9 points out of 9. They had to squeak through that last game against Braga. Again, as I said, we're going to expand on that more as we talk about those games. But yeah, I'm putting Real Madrid at my number 9. At my number 4 spot. And number 5, I'm going to go with PSG because it seems like PSG is starting to run away with this group. Even though it's close, I think that they're going to be overwhelming first place in this group. I think Arsenal could have squeaked in here too, but this is just preference. You can call me an Arsenal hater or not. It's totally up to you, but this is preference for me. PSG, a big convincing win against AC Milan. Hey, did I told you that Milan, you know, these Italian teams, they're not the truth. So So yeah, Milan looking last place right now in this group. PSG in first. PSG is going to be my number 5. But again, as I said, Arsenal was close. They just missed out. So from top to bottom, we're going to go with number 1, FC Barcelona. Number 2, Manchester City. Number 3, Bayern Munich. And it's very important to note that at this point, not much separates these 3 teams, in my opinion. The way that they're performing, I don't think a lot separates them. A little step back, we're going to go with Real Madrid at number 4, and then number 5, we're going with PSG. So those are your Pano's Power picks after Game Week 3. We are halfway through the Champions League group stages so far, and we're also going to take this episode, after we're going to highlight a few games, but we're going to use this episode to also kind of look back on, revisit predictions that we made for how the groups are going to finish, and basically see if much has changed, if they're looking good, if other teams maybe are surprising us. So we're going to get into that. But first, I want Demetri to give me his standout game of this Champions League game week.
I think as we said, there was pretty straightforward results. But one standout game that I could say that this team has been playing well all 3 games. First place in their group, and I think they will remain in first place in their group, is Feyenoord. They beat Lazio convincingly 3-1 at home, currently leading in a group with Atletico Madrid, Lazio, and Celtic, and I think it will remain that way because Feyenoord is playing great footy so far.
I mean, there's 3 games left, though, and this group is pretty close if you think about it. I'm pretty sure that anybody in this group can finish anywhere still at this point.
Yeah, but the reason I like it a lot is because Feyenoord's remaining game against Atleti is in the Netherlands. So I like them for that reason to stay on top. Look, I think they got the toughest game out of the way, which was an away game at Atleti.
Yep, they did. They did get it out of the way, and Celtic is looking terrible, but, I mean, are we surprised? The Scottish teams never show up in the Champions League. I don't even remember... I'm not going to lie, the only game that I think of when I think of Scottish teams playing well in the Champions League is I think of that game in like 2012 or 2013. Maybe it was 2013 when Celtic beat Barcelona. Do you remember that? Do you remember that game? They beat them. I want to say it was in the group stage. They beat them. That's the only game that I could think of with like Scottish teams performing well in the Champions League. I'm not talking about Europa League, anything like that. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so phone call ruining the pod over there for a little bit. Apologies to everyone for that. But yeah, so Scottish teams, they are not it. I'm gonna give you a game that stood out to me. Stood out to me for let's call it an abundance of reasons. Your boys, Manchester United, really getting away with it at the end there with FC Copenhagen, and this is going to open up a broader question to you that I'm curious about, and also this is kind of going to bring us into our points. Manchester United, they definitely lost the XG battle in this game against FC Copenhagen. They went up 1-0 from a Harry Maguire goal, screamer. You might say, although anything that he scores, I guess, is a screamer. Getting away with it at the end. Andre Onana coming up big, saving the penalty in, was it the 90-something minute?
Hey, the 2 players that they hated on the most came through for them when they needed them the most.
That's true. The 2 biggest memes so far this season for Manchester United in Harry Maguire and Andre Onana coming up big for them in this Champions League game. This was a big 3 points for Manchester United. I mean,
it is. If they can get these 3 points, I think Galatasaray was sitting comfortably to get out of the group.
I think this 3 points that they've gotten now against Copenhagen kind of cements for me that I think that they're going to finish second still in this group. I think they're going to squeak through. Even though they haven't played well this year, I think that they've been terrible the whole year, and they haven't deserved a lot of the wins that they've been getting, whether it's in the they haven't won anything in the Champions League until this week. But whether it's here or in the league, I think they've been terrible. But they got away with this one again. They scraped through. They got bailed out by a big scapegoat for the season. And Yeah, I think they'll finish second in this group now, and it's mostly because this win has, I think, just put them in a good place. Um, do you have any other games that
I don't have a particular game, but I just want to say that Union Berlin might be the unluckiest team in this tournament this year. They've lost all 3 games, all by 1 goal, and the first 2 games they lost were by late goals. First one being Bellingham in Madrid against them, and then Braga scored a late winner against Union Berlin in Germany, I believe. And then they lost 1-0 in their last Champions League matchup this week. So I would say Union Berlin is the unluckiest team, and I don't think they're going to be able to turn it around. I feel like it's just deflating when you lose 2 games with late goals, and then you lose the third game by 1 as well.
It doesn't look like they've played poorly either in any of these games. It's a shame because I had them finishing second.
Yeah, that's what makes it super deflating too when you don't deserve to lose, especially all 3 games, you know?
Also, Davidacho Fofana almost had a crazy assist to tie the game up, I believe, and got called slightly offside. So, they've been a little unlucky with those calls too. Not that it wasn't the right call. It was the right call for sure, but we're talking about margins here. fine margins. So that I think that's an important kind of team to bring up, because I think that this group in general is interesting. With Braga, Real Madrid, Union Berlin, Napoli. Obviously, I gave, my hot take that Berlin was going to finish second. And so far, really, the big surprise in this group, I think, has been Braga. Because Braga were unlucky to lose this game against Madrid. You could argue that they should have won this game. I mean, they definitely had the bulk of the chances, and it was really came down to like a moment of magic from Jude Bellingham.
Who else?
Right? Who else but Jude Bellingham? And I mean, in general, you get a goal from Rodrigo, but like you gotta feel for Braga, because even I know it was 2-0 at that point when they scored to make it 2-1, but it didn't. Based on the run of play, it wasn't really a 2-0 game. Braga, I mean, dominated the expected goals. We're talking 1.5 to 0.88. So almost double the expected goals that Real Madrid had. They missed 2 big chances. They missed 1 big chance out of 2 big chances that they had. Real Madrid had 0 big chances, which just means that Real Madrid's goals came from low XG totals, which obviously you can kind of tell based on the fact that they only had 0.88 XG. So yes, obviously, best teams in the world, they overperform their expected goals, but like, you gotta feel for Braga. And this is a Braga team that I'm pretty sure I said would finish last. I think they could finish second in this group. I think they could scrape through. Napoli has not looked good, even though they beat Berlin. I mean, your boy Kvaratskhelia, can he bail them out again? I don't know.
Tough questions.
That's gonna bring us into our overall. We're just gonna revisit the table of each group, and halfway through the group stage now, we're gonna give our new predictions for who's gonna finish where. We're gonna take it one by one. We're gonna start at the top, the group of the eventual Champions League winner, and that is the group with Bayern Munich sitting at the top of it. Got Bayern Munich in first right now with 9 points. Galatasaray of Turkey with 4 points in second place. Manchester United Football Club in third place with 3 points. And FC Copenhagen with 1 point in last place. Now, how do you see this group finishing now that we're halfway through?
Actually, my hottest take is in this group.
Really?
So my hottest take is Galatasaray is getting through. They're going to hold on to that second place spot. I mean, it's pretty safe to say that I think Bayern's going to win out. I think the only team that's going to give them trouble is Man U, but I think they'll be able to solidify going 6 games, 6 wins. And Galatasaray's remaining game against Man U is in Turkey, which is always a tough place to play. And, the finest of margins, they're going to be close heading into that. So I can see Galatasaray pulling out a result in Turkey to solidify that second place spot. And I see them going through. If need be, I think the the last game of their Champions League group stage campaign is against Copenhagen, the weakest team in the group. So if they did need a win at the very last match day to get through, it's pretty safe to say that they would be able to get it against Copenhagen compared to the other two teams.
That's a hot take indeed. I see what you're saying. I'm gonna have to disagree. And it's not because I think that this team deserves it, because I do not think they deserve it. But I know it's inevitable. Manchester United is gonna scrape through. They overperformed last year. They got results that they probably didn't deserve to get, and it seems like they're getting away with it again this year, even though they're not playing well overall. Obviously, they're still low in the Premier League table, but I don't see it with this team. But just because they're gonna get bailed out, Bruno is gonna go off, and they're gonna scrape through. So I don't have any statistical analysis as to why Manchester United's going to finish second in this group. I have a feeling that they're just going to get by like they usually do when it comes to these things, even if they don't deserve it. So I'm going to go Bayern, Man U, Galatasaray, Copenhagen. And I think Galatasaray is going to actually have a good Europa League in the end when they do go through. So that's Group A. Let's head on over to Group B. We have... You want to take it away?
In Group B, we have Arsenal in first place with 6 points, Lens in second with 5 points, Sevilla in third with 2 points, tied with fourth place PSV Eindhoven with 2 points as well.
That is a PSV being led by Mexican-American striker Ricardo Pepi, who has not really been firing too well so far. We're going to get into another Mexican striker in a little bit later on in the group who is firing on all cylinders for his team, and Demetri's big on that team. But for now, we're going to focus on this side. I mean, again, I hate to say it, but you got to see Arsenal finishing it first, right? I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be in this order. I think it's going to go just how it is. Arsenal, Lens, Sevilla, PSV. And it's not for any other reason other than I just think that Arsenal's going to top the group, just because they are on paper the best team in this group. I think Lens is going to keep playing well. Obviously, they haven't exactly performed super well in the French league, but they have picked it up in the Champions League. They're not doing too hot. I'm not going to lie. They're not doing great right now in the French league, but their form has been better. It's been better than the beginning of the year when they were like in the relegation zone almost.
I think Sevilla coming in third was the easiest prediction of this group.
Well, yeah, obviously Sevilla is going to come in third, and they're going to do numbers in the Europa League. That's obvious. And then we got PSV in last. Is that kind of where you're going with too?
Yes, I would agree with that. It's going to finish as it is.
Yeah, I think that's a straightforward group, and we're going to go now to a group that I don't think is so straightforward, and that is Group C. In first place, we have Real Madrid with 9 points, running away with it. In second place, we have Napoli with 6 points. In third, we have Braga with 3 points. And in last, we have Union Berlin, 0 points. I know we kind of spoke a little bit about it before, but how do you see, halfway through, how do you see this group finishing?
I think Real Madrid's going to win the group. We're going to predict this, 3 wins, all on Jude Bellingham late winners in each of the remaining 3 games.
So they're gonna go perfect in this group then.
Yes.
I can see that.
Napoli's going to finish in second, and I can see Union Berlin squeaking out a third place finish and going down to the Europa League over Braga.
You know what? You have me sold. I'm not gonna lie. I was edging towards trying to get like that hot take of Braga, finishing in second, but you have to believe in the numbers. Okay, Union Berlin's been playing decently well. You gotta think that they're gonna squeak in. This is their first Champions League campaign, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna believe in them. I think they'll scrape through. I'm gonna also go Madrid, Napoli, Berlin, and Braga in fourth. Remember, I put Berlin in second in my early predictions. It'd be insane. It'd be amazing if they wind up finishing second, but that would take a real capitulation from Napoli. So very unlikely. But hey, stranger things have happened. Is it too crazy to say that potentially you could have Napoli losing to Madrid, tying Braga, and then losing to Berlin, and then Berlin winning out? Because I want to say
that wouldn't be the craziest thing. Or you could have Union. Trying to do the math here. If Union Berlin gets 7 points in the remaining 3 games, with the tie being against Madrid, and Napoli getting 1 point with the tie being against Braga, if Union Berlin could win on goal difference, that would be huge for them. So that's one way I guess it could sneak out. I just don't see Napoli dropping all 3 games.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who the last match is for these teams, because we got to go to the last game week, right? The last game week.
Is it not Union Berlin versus Madrid?
If it is, I'm telling you, man,
The reason I could see that happening is Madrid might be in first place in the group by then. So they would just play a second team.
It is Berlin versus Madrid, last game.
So I guess if you're a Union Berlin supporter, you kind of hope that Madrid wins the next 2 games, solidifies first place, and then the second game rests a couple of their key guys, and you don't want to see Jude Bellingham on the field after the 70th minute.
For my pride, I hope that happens, but hey, we're gonna have to see. Let's move on. Group D. We got Real Sociedad in first place with 7 points, playing extremely well. Inter Milan in second place, only on goal differential. They also have 7 points, so they're only behind Sociedad on goal differential. We have Red Bull Salzburg with 3 points in third place, and then Benfica, Sporting Club de Lisbon Benfica? No, SL Benfica? It must be something like that. Sporting Lisbon Benfica.
Isn't Sporting Lisbon Sporting?
Yeah, I know, but what would the SL mean in Sporting? Isn't it SL Benfica? Yo, I'm gonna find this right now. All right, cue the
I'll take it from here. Benfica in last place, hasn't scored a goal in 3 games, and maybe they could squeak out a third place finish. Definitely not top 2. I think top 2 is going to stay as is, but I would think that Inter would jump Real Sociedad. I think there's just too much firepower on that team for Real Sociedad, but Real Sociedad has been playing well, and I do see them going through pretty comfortably and not too much of a challenge coming from Salzburg for the top 2 spots.
It's Sport Lisboa, a Benfica, whatever that means. So it's kind of right. It's just not Sporting. But anyway, I think Sociedad is a good team, man. I got a chance to watch them against Atletico Madrid in the league, and they outplayed Atletico Madrid. We're very unlucky to win 2-1 that game. This game was a couple weeks ago in La Liga. They're 5th right now in La Liga, and they're only 4 points behind Atletico Madrid, albeit they have a game in hand. I like the Sociedad team. They got some good players, man. They got Takefusa Kubo, who I feel like is the guy who's obviously getting all the hype right now. But they have players with a lot of experience like Mikel Oyarzabal
Up top?
Yeah, he's a forward. I don't think he's an actual striker. And then they also have Bryce Mendez. He's a 26-year-old left-footed Spanish player. He plays in midfield. Right now, he's one of their top assisters and top goal scorers.
They also have Zubimendi, who did have some very, hot transfer rumors over the summer.
Huge interest from top European clubs for Zubimendi as a I would say not necessarily a destroyer, but a defensive midfielder who can make tackles, but mainly play with the ball very well. So they got a good little team. You know what? I think this group will finish as is. I think Sociedad will beat Inter. I'm not high on this Inter team. You know me, I'm not high on the Italians in general. Oh, I can't wait to get to that group. Speaking of Italian bums and and Italian bum teams, luckily there's a group that has both. An Italian bum on one team and a bum Italian team on the other team, or on the other side. But yeah. So yeah, I think this group is gonna stay as is. Looks pretty good. And shame for Benfica. Benfica finishing last. That'd be pretty crazy. I could still see them squeaking into third, but I'm gonna go with group's gonna finish as is. Take it away with Group E. I think I really want to hear you talk more about this group.
Group E, we have first place Feyenoord with 6 points. Second place Atleti with 5. Third place Lazio with 4 points. And last place Celtic with 1 point. I think I said earlier in the show, I have Feyenoord coming out of the group, but coming in second, I believe. Because Atleti's going to jump them. Atleti plays them at home down the stretch, which I think is going to favor Atleti to win the group. And I don't think Celtic's going to really challenge for third place Lazio, and I can't see Lazio squeaking through.
I'm ready to hop on the Feyenoord bandwagon, I'm not going to lie. The only thing that's kind of holding me back is the fact that I just think that Madrid just has a better team in general. But one player that I am big on this Feyenoord team, I spoke about a Mexican-American striker at PSV Eindhoven. Well, there's a Mexican striker on Feyenoord, 22 years old, Santiago Jimenez, who's absolutely taken the league by storm. Mind you, I just realized he was born in Argentina. It's kind of weird. I don't really know how that happened. But yeah, so okay. He feels more Mexican than Argentinian, whatever that means. But yeah. So, he's a naturalized Mexican citizen because he started at Cruz Azul. Interesting. He's Argentinian. He's not really Mexican. Okay, this makes me feel better as an American soccer fan. He is absolutely killing it right now this year. He has 13 goals in 9 games in the Dutch league, in the Eredivisie, and he's got 2 goals in 1 game so far in the Champions League. This was his first start last game, and he scored 2 goals. So he's been killing it. I think that this group is also going to finish as is. I'm going to be a romantic. Feyenoord's going to finish in first. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing.
He's laughing at me. What? What's wrong with what I said?
I didn't say anything.
All right. We good with this group?
I guess so.
You guess so. That doesn't make me feel good. I just kind of can't wait to get to this group right here. Group F. We have PSG in first with 6 points. Dortmund with 4 points in second. Newcastle in third with 4 points. And Milan in fourth with 2 points. Listen, I'm not a betting man, but would you take a gamble and say that that Newcastle could get out of this group? Would you gamble?
Just for the record, I'm not a betting man myself, but I do have Newcastle squeaking out of this group. You know, I think they were a little unlucky to lose at home with that great atmosphere that they have that we saw against PSG. Dortmund got a 1-0 win. Hats off to them. So I can see Newcastle going through, and I think this group we did say that PSG was going to win the group, and it went from a 4-horse race to I think a 3-horse race for the top 2 spots, with PSG already securing one of the spots.
Yeah, and I think PSG's like clocked in. Yeah,
the last 2 spots I guess is between Dortmund and Newcastle. I think AC Milan has not proven to be a real contender for the top 2 spots, and I think where that stemmed from was because AC Milan started their Champions League campaign at home against Newcastle, where they should have won the game comfortably and they couldn't. So, if you can't win the games that you should, where you're creating all these chances and you can't finish, it really hinders your chances at going through if you have a very tough group.
Yeah, and I was big on this AC Milan team to start things off, but it's not looking good for them. It's not the end of the world. They could in theory finish with 11 points, right, if they win out. I don't think that's going to happen. It's, obviously some of these games have shown to be too much for them. But what you are saying is that if you were a Newcastle player and you were to bet on yourself, you would I would
be betting on myself to go through to the Champions League group stages, knockout stages. Sorry.
Would you also bet on yourself to get a 10-month ban from football?
Over half a yellow card. But also, I didn't know he was very fast. Didn't know Tonali had legs on him like that. I think he's clocked the top speed in the Champions League so far.
Has he actually?
I promise I don't have it right now. He's definitely up there, but I think he might have clocked the top speed, and I think it came against PSG where he was chasing a through ball, long ball from his half to the top of his 18, and he was running with Dembele, I want to say. Interesting stat there if you want to confirm, look up, but he's got wheels on him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would hope he's got wheels because he's running from the cops now.
And he's running for Bruno, too.
He's running for Bruno, and he's running from the cops right now. Yeah, so Tonali, who I wasn't very big on, I wasn't big on that transfer, and he's paying dividends so far for Newcastle. I don't know if we should talk about that in this episode, but that's a can of worms that I would love to talk about. There's a lot to unpack with that. I don't think Newcastle's going to go through, but I think that they could still finish in third. I think that they're likely to finish in third, but I can see them finishing in fourth. I could see them finishing last and Milan picking it up at the end. I don't think that they'll squeeze through, though. So the highest I can see Newcastle finishing is third. I think it's going to go PSG, Dortmund, Newcastle, Milan. And you are right, Sandro Tonali.
That was after match day 2, though.
Clock top speed after match day 2. Christian Pulisic. Oof. Oh my gosh. Eli Wahi, another one. Oof. I'm sure he's fast for other reasons too. He's also one to run from the authorities. All right, so we have that group. We have that group done, and we got 2 groups left. I feel like we've been talking for a while about these groups. We got Man City, Leipzig, Young Boys, Red Star. Man City with perfect 9 points. Leipzig in second with 6. And we got Young Boys and Red Star third and fourth with 1 point each. This group is finishing as is, right?
No. Red Star is finishing in third place ahead of Young Boys, your favorite team in Switzerland. But yeah, the top 2 spots are pretty much locked and loaded.
I'm going to go with that. I feel like isn't really much to talk about here. I also feel like Man City hasn't even left first gear, honestly.
They've also been playing without De Bruyne. But here there's rumors of him going to the Middle East after he showed up at that UFC event over the weekend, but that's a whole different story.
I doubt he goes. I don't think so. Yeah, that was probably the easiest group we've had to do today. Honestly, yeah.
Wait till you get to this one.
Well, I think that this group could be a little bit more open than you think. Although I still think that it's going to finish as is. How about you take it away? Finish off the groups for me.
First place, Champions League contenders, Barcelona, perfect, 9 points, invincible Champions League season incoming. Porto in second place with 6 points. Shakhtar Donetsk, third place with 3 points. Royal Antwerp, last place, no points. I don't see anything changing in this group. I can see it finishing the same 1 through 4.
I'm going to go with that also. I think Barca, Porto, but I like Shakhtar, bro. Skeleton squad, they're still going strong. I think they'll put up a good fight, and I think that they'll have a good Europa League season as well. I think Demetri has said enough for that group. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say, but I think after halfway through, I'm even more confident that Bayern Munich is going to win the Champions League. I think I'm even more confident.
Oh, look, man. Musiala firing, Harry Kane firing. They're going to get a midfielder and a defender in January. I know they are. Whoever it is, it's going to make them better, bro. This Bayern Munich team looks scary. Kane, like, and he's like Haaland.
Especially in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League.
Especially in the Bundesliga and the Champions League. Yeah. He's inevitable. He's killing it. So yeah. I think that's just about it. Harry Kane is inevitable. Especially in the Bundesliga, but in the Champions League as well. So yeah, that's that. That rounds up our groups halfway through predictions. So, other than that, we're looking forward to game week 4. Hopefully by the time we get to game week 4, I'm going to be able to watch more of the games because my fall season is going to be winding down. If some of you don't know, for some of you who don't know, I'm a coach. I coach soccer. So usually I'm in season and I'm doing training sessions on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Once my season's done, though, I could take a step back, I can relax, and I could just sit down and watch some more footy and not just watch, games on playback or highlights. So I'll be able to watch more. But yeah, other than that, you have any closing points, Demetri?
I think I laid out all my points in the episode.
All right, well, this was another episode of The Line Breaker, recapping game week 3 of the Champions League. My name is Pano.
I'm Demetri, aka Juicy.
And we're out of here.